Hello, beautiful nerdy stitchers. This is Mev back for an update. Today is Sunday, November 25th. It's a perfect, gloomy, rainy November day here in Paris, France. But that's okay because on the inside I'm feeling really good. And I have some things to show you. It's been only 3 weeks since my last update, which for me is short, so there won't be much progress, but there are some FFOs that I cannot wait to show you, hence this video. I've had some visitors over the past 3 weeks. My beloved man came to visit for a couple of days. And then my sister came over and I was able to gift her the present for my sister that I showed in my last video, and I do believe that she really liked it. She went home with it, and at some point I'm hoping to see how she hangs it on one of her walls. So that was really good. We has had a lovely week together in my apartment. She comes fairly often for her work, and so it was good to have her with me. We really had some very good times together. So that's that. And so because there were visitors at my home, I didn't stitch as much as usual, I would say. But I do want to show progress on 2 of my pieces that have had some love. The first of which is Midnight by Barbara Anna Designs. I will show you what it would look like finished. The picture is very small. It's a printout of the PDF. So this is the piece that I'm currently stitching for my crazy lovely aunt. So it's just the pattern. Obviously it will be finished differently, but this is it. The quote is from Macbeth, William Shakespeare. It says, "'Tis now the very witching time of night." And it's quirky as only Barbara Anna knows how to do, and it's lovely. And I'm stitching it in a different colorway, shall we say. So this is where I'm at. I worked on it a bit, and it really stitches up quite fast. So here it is. I love this. The fabric, if you've been watching my updates, the fabric is a 30 count linen overdyed by a German company called Tentaculum, and the colorway is called Friedrich, and it's gorgeous. And I mean, stitching this at this time of the year is perfect. Now what I did over the last 3 weeks was stitch this kind of border here and the Starry Night. And can I say, I absolutely love the blue color that I chose to stitch this. It's an overdyed Atali, Philatali, and it's a beautiful blue. And then what I use for the stars and the little moons is a Soie de Paris au ver à soie silk. And obviously, unfortunately, you can't see it on camera, but it has an awesome sheen to it. It's just, it glows, literally glows, which is very becoming for a night scene. I am loving this. And as you can see, it outlines the houses that are supposed to be at the bottom of the piece. So basically, I need to stitch the little houses, and then the last word of the quote and William Shakespeare's name, and it will be done. So it's actually close to a finish, and I love it. It's just stitching the blue took a bit of time, but I mean the result is so beautiful. I love this color, and against the oranges and reds and browns of the fabric, I think it pops out just right. And again, I mean, I wish you could see the sheen of this white Soie de Paris. It's an off-white actually, and it's just beautiful. So yeah, it's been lots of fun and really easy to stitch. Now I do have a question for you. I would like your advice. So as you can see, there's a little cartouche here with the date. I'm assuming the date of publication for Macbeth, 1603. It is supposed to be stitched. I mean, the cartouche is supposed to be stitched as well with this color here. And I'm thinking that leaving it empty may be better. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to, what do you think? Should I leave it like this, or should I use this color here to stitch the inside of the cartouche? Let me know what you think. Also, another question, as you can see, so this was charted to be little black cats, and I had them change into owls. Well, obviously you can't really see it yet because it's missing its claws, can I say this? And its eyes. About the eyes, I'm wondering, should I make them, should I stitch them in off-white or a little bit darker, maybe like this color here? So let me know what you think. What color should the eyes be on the owls? And should I fill in the cartouche with the date in it, or should I leave it this way? So that's questions for you. If you want to let me know what you think, I would really appreciate it. So this is Midnight by Barbara Anna Designs, and I really love the results so far. Again, this starry night is just awesome. And so I think I will be stitching on it some today, which is cool. This is it. Okay. This piece will be gifted to my aunt. My aunt has a kind of like a tiny little cabin in my father's yard. Can I say this? Yeah, he lives in a tiny little hamlet in the center of France, where my family comes from, which is a land of witches, as I've explained before. And so, like in the far end of this yard, my aunt built a tiny little cabin in which she sleeps when the weather is clement, and it is filled with quirky, strange little deco pieces, and I'm thinking that this piece will be perfect in there. And the way I'll be finishing it, I've been inspired by Audrey at Stitchy Witch 42. She recently showed, I think, a Halloween piece. It was just basically the fabric piece tacked on a piece of wood with upholstery tacks. By the way, I used such a wrong term. Audrey, thank you very much for letting me know the right word. But anyway, so she used like kind of old rusty upholstery tacks to fix it on a wooden board. And I think this is going to be awesome for this piece. So this is how it will be fully finished once it's done. So here's for Midnight by Barbara Anna Designs. Now the other piece that has got some love because it's such a joy to stitch. I've explained how sensual and experienced that was, is Dragons of Sumatra by Ink Circles. We all know this piece and it's beautiful. And again, I'm changing everything basically in terms of colors, I mean. So I've started this 1st of November after I finished Coats of Arms, and I'm stitching this on another Tentaculum fabric, and the colorway is called Clint, and this is what I've done so far. I love this. So as you can see, a bright stained orangey yellow with a beautiful, stunning blue silk, overdyed au vert à soie d'Alger silk. Again, by Tentaculum colorways, Waterhouse, and it's a dark blue with some variegation, not much, to a lighter. It has a tealy kind of undertone, which I really like. And so this is what I've done so far. And I really am enjoying this. This I stitch at night because with a magnifier and a good daylight bulb, it's really easy. The silk is a joy to work with. And so if I don't do mistakes, I spent a whole evening unpicking some stuff that I had made wrong, but if I don't do mistakes, it stitches quite fast. Now I'm doing an experiment, but unfortunately I don't think it really shows. I'm sorry, this way. So this is the border of the piece. It's way larger than this, but it's a start. And what I did here, but you can't see it because it all looks the same. The colorway of this thread is exactly the same as the soie d'Alger that is here, but it's not the same kind of silk. Let me show you the difference on the spool. So this is a 6-stranded soie d'Alger classic. The thickness of one strand is exactly the same as a DMC. So this is what I'm stitching the main central part of the piece with. And I found on the Tentaculum website another Auvert à soie silk, which is called Gobelin. Gobelin was is the name of a silk, very famous, very old silk manufacturer in France. I think it still does some very luxury fabrics and silks, and it's been around for, I think it opened in the 15th or 16th century, so it's very, very old. Anyway, so the manufactory is called, or the factory is called Gobelin, and this silk has the same name from Auvert à soie. It's called Gobelin silk, and it's only one strand on the spool, you see, and it's slightly thinner than one strand of DMC or one strand of soie d'Alger. And it's not only thinner, it's got a kind of a pearl cotton look to it. It's shinier, and it has some kind of like very, very subtle kind of relief on it. I don't know how to explain, and unfortunately I don't think it will show. Oh yeah, maybe you can see this. It makes like sort of little bumps that makes it shinier, I think. And it's thinner again. And so my thinking was, and the same colorway. So this is a Waterhouse, just as the soie d'Alger is, right? And so what I've tried is, or what I was thinking is, I will stitch all the border of this piece. So everything that goes around the central motifs. So everything around here, I am going to stitch with this Gobelin soie, hoping, but I can't be sure, hoping that it'll be slightly different when it's all done. Because the thread is a little bit thinner, I'm stitching this 1/1. It might give a slightly different feel to it, a slightly different texture maybe. I'm gonna try and do a very, very close up, hoping it will focus. Nah, you can't really see it. See this here, this straight line going up is only one line of crosses, right? And in real life, you can actually see the crosses, whereas with the 6-stranded silk, you can't really see the crosses, right? And so I'm thinking it might give it a lighter, lacier effect on the border. So that's what I'm trying. We'll see if it really makes a difference. I can see it in real life, but maybe you can't on the camera. Anyway, and then hopefully I can take close-up pictures to put on Instagram as I progress. But anyway, I really just made a test stitch here. But obviously I will be stitching the central part first and then focus on the border. I started in the center, and then I'm working my way block by block of motifs. And it's just gorgeous. So this is Dragons of Sumatra by Ink Circles. I'm sorry, I forgot something that I needed to do. As you can see the other way, my world map of stitchers is right here, and I just wanted to say thank you and hello to the stitchers that have come forward and say that they would like to be featured on the maps. And so I just want to go over quickly. I'm sorry, this is all over the place. I thought I had organized everything, but obviously not in my head. So yeah, let me just say hi and thank you very much to the latest additions to the map. There's Jan, who lives by the Four Corner States, and she works in Shiprock, New Mexico. So I got to peruse a little bit the area on Google Maps, which was fun. Thank you very much, Jan, for reaching out. There's Eileen, who is an additional stitcher in France. She lives in Carcassonne, which is a beautiful, beautiful medieval city in the southwest part of France. Thank you, Eileen. There's Audrey, whom we all know and love, Stitchy Witch 42, who sent word saying that she is in Silverton, Oregon. There's Carrie from Fort Lauderdale in Florida. And last but not least, there's Doreen, who lives in Canada in New Brunswick. So thank you very much. I now have close to 80 names on this map, which is just awesome. If you wish to be part of this little adventure, please let me know just, you know, your name and the area you live in or the city you live in, and I will be very, very happy to add you on this. And I'll get back to it a little bit later with my upcoming projects. Okay. Now, the bulk of this video was supposed to be FFOs because, as some of you have seen on Instagram, Coats of Arms by Stickideen van der Wiehenburg came back from the framers. This will be gifted on the 6th of December to my boss. It's his birthday, and now I literally can't wait to gift it to him. I'm going to show you the result. It's beautiful. I gotta lean back to show it to you in full, and then hopefully straight and focused. This is the finished Coats of Arms by Stickideen van der Wiehenburg. It's stitched 1/1 on 25 count cream linen with 2 threads, a number 12 pearl cotton by DMC in a very dark green, and a Karen water lily silk in the Sierra colorway. So the highly variegated yellow and green stitches are in this water lilies. Can you? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. This has been professionally framed by a lady who works with my local needle workshop. And I mean, this piece had to be framed by a professional who only does needlework framing, because I knew it would be perfectly executed, and it is. It's beautiful. Let me do a close-up. I don't know if you can see. So the frame is wooden, is a wooden frame, and it's a very dark green. It's not black. It may show black, but it's not. It's very, very dark green, and it complements quite well the pearl cotton that I used. And then there's an off-white mat board, which is exactly the same color as the fabric, as you can see. And then, can you see the under mat? I have no idea what it's called. It's gold. It's like old gold. And it's awesome. Look at this. Oh my goodness. See, it's a little bit distressed, sort of. And it shines, and it puts the pieces into such a lovely... Oh God, I love it. So it complements the piece perfectly well. I'm very grateful for my friend and colleague Laura to come with me at the Framers to choose the frame, the board, this thing here, which I don't know what you call. Hopefully you guys will tell me and I can learn a new word. And so she was the one to help me pick out the different things, and then we had to decide the width of the mat board and then how far from the piece it would be. It can be a headache when you have too much choice, right? I mean, you all know what it is. But I am absolutely stoked with the result. It's stunning. And I think that the framing is just an integral part of the overall look. It's just beautiful. So yeah, this is it. It's done. And it's beautifully done. I'm just so happy. Now a little bit of a story. So this will be gifted in 2 weeks now. I'm very excited. Funny thing is, 2 or 3 weeks ago, so my boss knows about my stitching obsession, and he knows I've got a YouTube channel. Obviously, he doesn't watch it, thankfully. But anyway, so he makes fun of me with my, with my hobby and stuff. And the other day, out of the blue, like coming out of nowhere, he said, "Well, why don't I have something stitched?" And he had a baby boy last year who's 1, and he was saying, "Why didn't I get a birth sampler for my boy?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Well, yeah, I mean, you do stitches." And then I didn't see any of it yet. And I was like secretly smirking and smiling, thinking, "Yeah, well, wait till you turn whatever age you are." And so I started saying, "Well, first of all, you don't ask or demand for gifts first." And then he said, "Yeah, maybe you could do, I don't know, the Bayeux tapestry." And I said, "Yeah, right. And then when I'm finished stitching it, we'll both be dead. So that's a good idea." And anyway, we went on bantering, back and forth. But now I know that he's kind of like excited about having something stitched. And so honestly, I cannot wait to see his face when he gets this. I'm now pretty sure that he is gonna literally fall on his ass, forgive my French, when he sees this. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait to gift it now, and I'm very, very happy. It turned out so beautiful. So this is the main FFO. Now there are 3 more. Can you believe this? I mentioned in my last video that my aunt was taken by a frenzy of finishing my pieces. She said it wasn't done to have the pieces that I stitched earlier this year just lingering in my finished basket and doing nothing. And so we had 2 sessions of kind of like crafty moments at her place where we were thinking about how to finish this and that. And I'm glad that I have them here because 2 of the 3 finishes are 2 tiny little chatelaine motifs that I stitched earlier this year, and I don't think I showed them. I think I showed pictures, but I don't think you've seen them in for real, so I'm happy. So 2 of those little finishes that I'm gonna show you are tiny little chatelaine squares that I stitched back in March before starting flosstube. And then the third one is what I called my take on mermaid. It's an embroidery piece based on a drawing by the man I love. And so she kept all 3. We discussed the finishing of the 2 chatelaines, and then she had carte blanche for the mermaid. Now I'm gonna do this in an order. So I'm gonna go from like the more classic, so to speak, finish to the craziest finish. So the very first one is called Tiny Rose Garden, maybe Tiny Mandala Garden, can't remember. I'll put in the details in the description box. So it's a tiny little chatelaine that I stitched on even weave 2/2 using mainly silks and Miyuki beads. And this is, okay, the glare is intended, right? It's all, oh God, it's too much. There you go. So this is the tiny little, I think it's Tiny Mandala Garden, but I can't be sure. So it's just laced on foam board, I think. It's 25 count even weave, stitched 2/2 with the usual chatelaine tiny little beautiful details. So the wrought iron gate here with little golden beads, with the specialty stitches, mainly Algerian eyelets. And so what we wanted to do is go over the top in the blingy sort of way, and she obviously did. So what she did is, I just laced it on foam board, and what she did is she took some very thick cardboard, on which she applied, this is not golden leaf, it's actually, is it copper? Sorry, yeah, it's copper. Although it's very gold, it's copper leaf, because obviously golden leaf is very expensive. And so she covered it with copper leaf foil, and look at the result. I'm sorry about the glare. I mean, it's, you know, it's gold. So very simple, very effective, and you can't really see the sparkle of the beads, but it gives you an idea, and I think it goes well together, this outrageously large frame with the tiny little shiny beads. And so yeah, it's really fancy, over the top, and I really like it. She put a little hook thing here, so it's really ready to go on the wall. So this is one finish, which is somewhat classic or normal, should I say? I don't know. But it really came out perfect. And we did want something way large, just to kind of, again, exaggerate this style of the piece. So this is one. Now the second one is probably my favorite. I don't know, I love them all. This one is called Arabesque. Again, I changed everything, the colors and stuff. Again by Chatelaine. Now I'm hoping this will show, because it's stunning. We wanted to try framing with the piece inside the frame, and then you have some kind of, it's like in a hole. In French, it's funny, because in this framing method, or this type of frame, is called in French boîte américaine, which literally means American box. I don't know how you guys call it, maybe you can tell me. But anyway, so we wanted the piece to recede inside the frame, and then have the frame, you know, kind of stick out. And so here's the result. Now before you scream, yeah, this is good. Okay, so it's a wooden frame which she painted in this crazy, it's called iridescent pearl. It's an acrylic paint, a high-end acrylic paint, and it, like, oh my god, it's pearly, it's shiny, it's beautiful. And I think that the dark red and the grays is just like perfect in this. And yes, it is crooked, and it is on purpose. And this is where my aunt's genius comes in. She put the, when she was done painting the frame, she put the square in it, and she was like, okay, it can't be, we can't have it sit straight, let's just do it lopsided. And it is, and I just love it. Look at this. There's just the little tiny twist that makes all the difference. And that's my aunt for you guys. It's just, I think it's perfect. And this will be hanging on my wall. I think I showed you this very dark, what's it called? A dark gray, like slate gray. Let me just show you. Yeah. So see, yeah, the idea is to put it on my wall, and I think it's going to be perfect. It's just awesome. It is awesome. So there it is. Arabesque by Chatelaine, fully finished in a lovely frame and a lopsided fashion, and it's gorgeous. I love it. And this paint, this color, well, it takes the shine, as you can see. It's just crazy, and it's iridescent, and so, like, depending on how you see it, it takes a different kind of sheen and color. It's perfect. Again, this is the second of my aunt's FFOing frenzy. And then, all right, now brace yourself for some craziness. I had shown you this finished piece. Oh, Warning, this is R-rated, it's a nude, so you will see nude things. So this is my take on mermaids. The man I love, my partner, had drawn this little mermaid, and I decided to stitch it using on a handkerchief that I had stained with ink, and I freehand embroidered it with using stem stitch. And so I had shown the embroidery, and then I gave it to my aunt, and here, I mean, she had carte blanche, so basically she was allowed to do whatever she wanted to do to finish it. This is the result. She is just so crazy. So see, this is a tiny little mermaid here on her, in her deep water. And this here is some actual, I think it's quilt, kind of like quilt padding or something that she bought in Russia. Don't ask me why, but anyway. And so she just, I don't know how she did this, by the way. I think she stitched it or glued it even, I don't know. So she glued the fabric on the padding. She stained the padding. And then she put, I don't know if you can see it, these are threads that are randomly, yeah, can you see this? Blue threads that she used just to link the handkerchief and the padding together. And it's supposed to stick out like this. This is intentional. And then she put this on a, again, cardboard piece and a hook. So that I can, oh God, it's also, it's just, so yeah, this is what you come up with when you leave my aunt with finished pieces. And then she just goes bonkers and does all the things. I absolutely love this finish, and this obviously is going to go into my bathroom because a mermaid needs water. So it will be perfect. And I mean, this is all fabric. I'm not anxious about humidity or anything. I mean, it's just fabric and thread, so there's no, you know, no harm can get to it. And this is the tiny little mermaid that I had stitched, which I really, really love for all good reasons. So yeah, this is the crazy finish of my take on mermaids. What can I say? I mean, this piece is a perfect blend of things done or gifted by three people that I love. Obviously, the original drawing is from my partner. The handkerchief comes from my mom, and then the finish is done by my aunt. So it can't get better than this, and this will go in my bathroom now that I've shown it to you. I'm so lucky. I'm so thankful. So yeah, so that's somewhat of an FFO parade, huh? I've got the coats of arms, the two little chatelaines, and then the mermaid that are fully finished. And I'm so happy with that. And there's a plan, there's a project which I wanted to talk about really quickly before ending this video. I have mentioned before that my aunt works for a non-profit organization in my area. She literally, her office and garden in which she works is literally 1 block away from my home. She works in the middle of a very, very big, one of the biggest housing projects of my district here in Paris, with a lot of underprivileged people. And one of the aim of this organization she works for is to provoke and generate and create some links between the communities and the people themselves, like, you know, provoke events or make a place where people can meet up, can get help, whether it be social, economical, work-related help, And so the actual office of this organization is in the midst of this huge housing project, and in this place they have sufficient space to do exhibitions, actually, by people from the area, from the neighborhood, whether it be paintings or photographs or whatever kind of arts and crafts that is done. You can come up and just, you know, propose to exhibit your pieces, and the organization decides whether it's a good idea or not, and then they do the whole deal, like in an art gallery or a museum. So you've got a first opening night, and then it stays for a couple of months. The works are exposed, exhibited in the organization's premises, and then it's taken down, and it rolls like this. So currently there are pictures and paintings done by an art professor. So mainly young teenage and young adults are now exhibiting their works. All this to say that we've discussed with my aunt the opportunity for me to actually show my pieces, show my stitches in that kind of an exhibition. How awesome is that? I mean, that would be so cool. So so the idea is that I would gather all the pieces that I have or that I have gifted, and I've made a list. I've got, so far I've got something like 12 or 13, 14 pieces that I could, you know, show in an exhibition that would stay up for like a couple of months. But we would like to take this opportunity to call for the inhabitants of the area to maybe show what they do in terms of embroidery. Maybe we can find ladies and gents doing embroidery, or showcase their heirlooms or treasures or stitched pieces coming from their mothers, grandmothers, and so on. And this area again is of 1,000 nations. So we've got people coming, immigrants or families from immigrants from all over the place, basically. There are large communities of Northern Africans and Africans, and also Southeast Asian, so mainly from Vietnam and China. And so our idea is to try and get some of the ladies that we know to talk about whether they have a history of, you know, of embroidery, if they have objects, if they can tell stories, and then if they would be willing to lend a piece or two to the premises, so that we could have a larger exhibition than just, you know, my few stitches, and so that we could tell stories and explain where the pieces come from and what they're, you know, what they're used for, etc., etc., which would be a really exactly what this nonprofit organization is about. It's just enlarging everyone else's perspectives in sharing one craft or one hobby with the world. And so we are going to start discussing with other people within the organization, and then start speaking to inhabitants to see whether this you know, this could be an idea or not. And so this project will probably happen for real by the summer of 2019, and I think it's just such an awesome idea. I would be so happy to show what I've been able to do, but also share with people from all over the world, and hear the stories that they would have, as exactly the way that I shared the heirloom pieces that I have from my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother. I mean, I'm sure that some families have traditionally stitched items, everyday items, whether it be napkins or kitchen cloths or even garments. We know that in some countries or in some area of the world, embroidery is also a tradition in very, very different shapes and forms, and I would love to be able to, you know, to share with people, and then organize something where we can see all the different stitches. Wouldn't that be awesome? So this is something that I'm really, really looking forward to. We will again start working on this idea very soon, and obviously I'll let you know what comes out of it. So yeah, I think this is it. It's a short one again. I mean, I haven't touched the Chatelaine, and the Haid is like, I don't know, maybe 10 stitches farther than last time, so not much. But I've been so very lucky to get all those FFOs that I can wait to show them to you. Let me just show you coats of arm one last time because I can't stop looking at it. And I mean, it has to be displayed for as long as I can because in 2 weeks' time it'll be gone. But I mean, I'm so excited about gifting this again. I think he's just gonna be over the moon with this. It's, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. So yeah, this is it. One last word. Thank you so very much for all of the comments and the advice that I got after I explained what happened to my vision a month ago, maybe. I still haven't seen my eye doctor, but that's because it's complicated. Plus, I've seen enough doctors lately that I'm gonna take a break with doctors. Anyway, what I've done though is I've really started to be more careful of my eyes. So I'm taking more breaks. I'm just, you know, being very mindful of not being in front of a screen. I've downed my I've reduced my screen time, because when you start thinking about it, between work, which is 10 hours a day in front of a screen, the phone, the iPad, it's way too much every day. So I kind of found some kind of discipline where I use less. I use my devices less, and I force myself to take breaks when I stitch. Like today, I may be able to stitch 6 or 7 hours, and I do try to be careful and take breaks and look afar and stuff like that. And this is all thanks to your very sound advice. And so thank you very much for that. It's greatly appreciated. And it seemed that, you know, it did happen, but it might be just a one-time thing. So I'm not as freaked out as I was when it happened. So that was kind of reassuring, even though I will have my eyes checked in the near future. Anyways, I may have to change my glasses anyway. So thank you very, very much. For those of you in North America, I hope that you had a lovely, lovely Thanksgiving, that you were able to share some precious time with loved ones, that you are now relaxing and enjoying whatever leftovers from the agapes. Thank you so very much for sticking around, for showing your love and enthusiasm. It really fuels my love of the craft, and I feel very lucky to be able to share this with you all. So thank you so much. Next time I talk to will most probably be very close to Christmas. I wish you a lovely Sunday, whether it be ending because you're far, far away in the Southern Hemisphere, or whether you're just only barely starting because you are in the American continent. Until I see you, stitch well, be kind, au revoir.